U.S. President Donald Trump has repeated unsubstantiated claims of voter fraud on the eve of a crucial Senate runoff election taking place in the state of Georgia. Trump made the claims at an election rally in Dalton, Georgia, in support of two Republican incumbents trying to fend off a strong challenge by Democratic rivals. U.S. President-elect Joe Biden also campaigned in Georgia. He told voters they could set the country's course for a generation by electing two Democrats to the Senate. Well, Tuesday's special election will determine President-elect Biden's chances of pushing his agenda through Congress. Democrats will soon hold the White House and the House of Representatives, but if Republicans hold control of the Senate, they will block Biden from pushing through many of his policies. Here's the balance of power in the Senate right now, where Republicans currently have 50 of the 100 seats. Democrats and two independent allies hold 48 seats. Democrats need to win both of the Georgia seats. With Vice President-elect Kamala Harris's tie-breaking vote in the Senate, that would effectively create a majority of 51 for the Democrats. Well, let's take a closer look at the contestants in that Georgia runoff. We've got two Democrats, Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. They are up against two Republicans, David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. Well, DW's Oliver Saldick reports now from Georgia on this crucial vote.
It's people like Julius Hall who the Democrats are now pinning their hopes on. He's among thousands of activists getting out the vote across Georgia. African Americans might be the decisive force in this runoff.
How you doing? Good. Hi, we're out canvassing the area trying to get everybody to get out and vote. We've been behind so long in this country. And so when you get a sense of you're on the rise and things are happening where there is some inclusion, and then you get a clown that takes office for 4 years, which is Donald Trump. Now we get rid of him and we feel like we can start over again.
Jon Ossoff is one of two Democratic candidates. It's a race the 33-year-old Senate hopeful must win for the Democrats to gain control of Congress.
We have the opportunity to write the next chapter in American history.
The stakes are high, and so are his goals.
Establishing health care as a human right in the United States, investing in clean and renewable energy to create jobs and solve the environmental crisis, passing a new Civil Rights Act to secure equal justice for all, regardless of race.
The runoff is a big opportunity for Democratic hopeful Jon Ossoff in his attempt to unseat the Republican incumbent David Perdue. But the runoffs remain a neck-on-neck race, and Georgia has been a Republican stronghold for decades. And Jon Ossoff knows the fate of the Biden presidency lies in his hands. On the Republican side, Senator Ted Cruz wants to stop Congress from certifying Biden's victory. He's under fire from Democrats for his push to throw out the election results, and he's rallying for turnout in Georgia.
The people of Georgia are going to rise up and say, hell no!
I've got faith and confidence in the men and women of Georgia. I think the people of Georgia believe in common sense values. They believe in low taxes, low regulations, and lots of jobs. And I think the people of Georgia want to see a check and a balance on the extreme left wing.
Former Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski took the stage among several other big Republican names like former senior White House advisor Kellyanne Conway. But the spaces remained half empty after weeks of baseless claims about voter fraud. Some conservatives are skeptical about the electoral process.
All of us are concerned that, is our vote going to count? Does it matter? Because I really do believe that just like with the national election, there's a chance that they are going to be able to manipulate the Dominion software machines again.
You're in Gwinnett County, Georgia right now. I've lived here for 30 years. And there is no way on God's green earth that this county went Democrat in the general election.
Less Republican turnout, more Democratic turnout. A scenario that activist Julius Hall is hoping for on Election Day.
Let's bring in Stacey Bivens here from our U.S. elections team. Stacey, this runoff election in Georgia is happening under extraordinary circumstances, not least because President Trump is still seeking to overturn the results of the presidential vote. What impact is Donald Trump having on this election race in Georgia?
Donald Trump's presence and his rhetoric is problematic for Republicans in Georgia right now. He's been attacking the Secretary of State and tried to bully him into finding 11,000 votes. He's attacked the governor and promised to campaign against him in a year and a half. This is forcing Republicans to decide, are they going to stick blindly with Trump because he has such a strong base, or are they going to say enough is enough? We've had an election. The election is now over. It's time to move on, and it's time to focus on this race. But in this rally, Donald Trump was really focused still on himself and on trying to rewrite history, which was the election, and he cannot do it, and it's causing problems. But it's also, his rhetoric is also a boost to Democrats, who are more than happy to listen to him talk about trying to strong-arm the Secretary of State. So it might boost Democratic support, but his rhetoric with Republicans might suppress the Republican vote, because as the woman said in Oliver's piece, can we trust that our vote is going to count? This is how Republicans are feeling, some of them.
These Senate races in Georgia are hugely important. Everyone agrees on that. Tell us exactly what impact they could have in the U.S. political context.
Well, they'll determine how effective Joe Biden is going to be as president. If it's a White House run by Democrats and a Congress run by Democrats, it'll be easier for him to get things done when it comes to COVID, health care, the economy, the environment. It'll be easier for him to get his cabinet picks, because those aren't set in stone just yet. These are people he's nominated, but they have to be approved by the Senate. And so if these congressmen, the Democratic congressmen, prospective senators, win their race, then it'll be easier for them, because the Democrats will have the majority, with Kamala Harris casting the tie-breaking vote.
Of course, the Democrats have to win both those seats in order to give Biden that control. It's a big ask. In Georgia is traditionally a Republican stronghold. What makes Democrats think they have a chance of flipping those seats this time?
I think hope. I think when you look also at the map of what happened at the election, that some states that were red turned blue, including Georgia. And I think that these candidates give them hope. Jon Ossoff was a protege of the late, great, I just forgot his name, of the late, great John Lewis, who risked his life fighting for civil rights for all of his life. And Reverend Raphael Warnock is also important, because he is an activist. He's well known in Georgia, and he's a minister at the same church where Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was minister. So there's this hope by this grassroots organization that's been registering more Black and brown people that these two candidates will attract more voters to the polls.
Very exciting race. We'll keep watching it. Stacey Bivens from our U.S. elections team, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Terry.
Now to some of the other stories making news around the world today. The head of the far-right group known as the Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio, has been arrested in Washington. Police say he was involved in torching a Black Lives Matter banner taken from a church during protests last month. He was also charged with possessing illegal high-capacity firearm magazines.